Welcome to the Great Old Ones channel. Here I talk about gaming in general and tabletop role-playing games in specific. Dungeons & Dragons does happen to be a favorite of mine, but I will talk about other role-playing games on occasion. I do have some stuff planned for the future. Just coming off a little bit of a hiatus here while I spent some weeks over the summer visiting with a grandson here doing some fishing, taking some time off and stuff, but now that it is Labor Day, time to get back to work. My first video here starting out with this is going to be on surprise. All right, surprise is an essential part of any encounter. This is a prompt to the players for fight or flight or negotiation. Being such an essential part of the game, the 2014 edition of D&D has this guidance for Dungeon Masters. Your DM will determine surprise. Not much help. So then, what else can we read to help new Game Masters? A surprise party is caught unaware or unprepared. This is the definition. In an earlier edition of D&D, surprise was rolled for and the amount of time that elapses was determined by dice results. This meant that even a diligent sentry on watch may have had a momentary lapse in attention, and the opposing party had a moment of luck to exploit. Dicing for surprise keeps it fair for both the player and non-player characters in the game. It's always possible that some arbitrary method will have some sort of bias, intended or not. Situational factors may make a surprise inevitable or impossible. Distance of the encounter, for example, making a lot of noise or being absolutely silent, carrying a light source or being in a place of total darkness. Things give you away or provide you cover for hiding for surprise. Being watchful and ready or conducting some activity that would demand full attention away from observation. I mean, there's definitely some mitigating factors of whether or not you can achieve surprise. But let's go ahead and let dice determine what's going on, because this is basically ultimately a dice game to start with, right? In first edition AD&D, surprise could be a major factor in a battle. Of course, you could start out by fleeing a tough encounter, but based on the rules, the difference in surprise dice gave the surprisers sometimes one or more segments to act. They could perform actions in each of those segments as if it were a full round. Several opportunities for strikes against a tough enemy could make all the difference for a swift victory, or the other way around. Surprised by the monster could make short work of the party. So it's fair for both sides, right? From the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Dungeon Master's Guide, page 62. When one side or another is surprised, this general term can represent a number of possible circumstances. In the first place, it simply represents actual surprise. That is, the opponent was unprepared for the appearance or the attack. The reason for this could be eating, sleeping, waste elimination, attention elsewhere, weapon ready, etc. While each possible cause of surprise could be detailed with a matrix and factors of time for recovery from the condition calculated to a nicety, the overall result would not materially add to the game. In fact, the undue complication would detract from smooth flow of play. So a simple resolution system here. Let the dice determine what happens, throw in some mitigating factors or whatever, one side or the other, and let a dice game be determined by dice. The second factor represented in surprise is morale. What is the effect of being taken unaware and or unprepared upon a surprise party? Reactions are not only hampered by circumstances of a physical nature, panic or fear reactions to the situation may take their toll. Again, this is all subsumed in the single surprise roll determination for each side, and in the simple set of rules governing what transpires when one or the other is surprised. Finally, the surprising group must be able to assess the situation and act upon it, so surprise doesn't mean that the party with advantage has automatically achieved victory and triumph. What is gained is the opportunity to act as is seen best in the circumstances, be it to flee the encounter, get the drop on the surprise, or to attack with spells, missiles, or blows. Of course, the other side is then forced to react to whatever the surprising side has chosen to do. So, by allowing dice to determine these variable factors and stuff in there, it takes some of the seeming impropriety off of a dungeon master. Hey, that's what the dice happen. That's what the dice say, right? Let the dice determine what's going on. That doesn't look improper in anything. It seems to be fair all the way around because both sides, the non-player characters and player characters, both have the same opportunities for supplies and to exploit that surprise to the best advantage, or run if necessary, those sorts of things. Right. So Hopefully this has been a little informative to you for surprise and best practices to handle surprise. And if you like this content, please like and subscribe. If you have suggestions for any further content, leave a comment below. Comment on this video if you like too, please. I have other stuff coming up as planned. I'm going to talk about some other game systems, but a lot of the philosophy that we can get out of gaming comes from some fairly smart guy who kind of wrote the book. Yes, things have changed over time, but we can always go back to the foundation, right? Again, thanks again.